I want to show you a very simple scribe trick. Now in this case we're doing some architrave and we're coming up along next to the roof and next to the wall. Now the studs dictated how far our lining came out. Our architrave in this instance is slightly wider, so what we need to do with this piece and this piece is shoot them in. How we do that is we go around marking our margin just as normal. Here's our margin. Then what I do is I take an offcut of something. This is 18mm thick, and I'm just going to put an additional line. By lining that up with my margin line, I'm going to put an additional line on the lining here and at the bottom here. Then I'm going to take the piece of architrave that I'll be using, which will be this piece here. I'm going to pop it in here, but hold it on those second marks. There and there. That's what we need to do. And then I'm going to use the piece that we actually moved it forward by to mark the scribe by simply just pushing it in, running it all the way through like this, coming all the way back. Now there's my scribe. So I'm going to go and take that off on the saw. I'm going to back cut it slightly, and the reason for that is so where this plaster always curves into the corner is nice and tight. So we've got the upright one to do. We can do exactly the same thing on that as well. A little bit more tricky because we haven't got this piece of lining. We've got it here, but I can actually mark that on the floor as well. So I shall mark that on the floor, move it out 18mm. That's where we want to hold it to there. The same on the top here. Now I may need to shorten this piece of architrave to be able to actually scribe this in. So what I'll do is I know for a fact I need to get this architrave over to that corner, so I'll transfer that mark over to here. I'll put a roof cut on it, if you like, or a slope cut on it to try it in, and that will enable me, so let me just do that now. I'll just quickly cut that off by hand. So I'm just going to take a little bit of waste off. I know my roof is 45 degrees. I'm just going to take enough off to allow me to put it in and basically mark the scribe. So that's the first thing I'll do. So then we can offer this in again to our marks that we've got. That's exactly where we need it to be for scribing. Then we're going to take our small section again, just like we did before, and we're just going to run it up and down. And we'll take that off to there on a back cut. And what that's basically doing is giving us exactly where we need to be to fit nice and tight back. Let me just get that across there. It's a bit tricky here. There we go. Scribe all the way up. So we're going to go and cut those off. So we are going to back cut it slightly, which basically means give it some angle so the face is tight. So let's come up to about 5 or 6 degrees. That's absolutely fine. And then what we'll do is we'll push this through. Because we're following the plaster, it's not dead straight. We'll push this through carefully, freehand. We're going to lower the blade down to where it needs to be. It doesn't want to be too tall. There we go. Make sure we're nice and firm. Dust extraction in the back. Turn him on. And away we go. So this is the first bit we ripped, and you can see that the technique has allowed it to fit exactly where it needs to be, right back to the margin. The back cuts kept it really nice and tight. So the next job is obviously transferring these points, putting our mitre on, and that's it. The upright one, So that was just a simple way of marking a scribe on an architrave by setting it over the thickness of your scribe block. I held it to the first margins here, which was exactly the thickness of the architrave over, scribed it round, shot it in, made it on the ground, stood it up, glued it back and pinned it in.